Hello, my name's Lola, and I'm going to be reacting to Old Crash Bandicoot by Caddicarus. And of course, we're going to be looking at the Crash game that started it all, and from what Caddy has said, is his favorite game. And, it was started by the company Naughty Dog, which, they went on to later on make Uncharted, The Last of Us, and let's see what Caddy has to say about it. And if you want to like, comment, subscribe to my channel, you can. If you don't want to, that's fine too. Here we go.
Greetings and salutations, my beautiful people, and welcome to the Caddicarus Show, where I'm the thing with the slaughtered or salvaged. And sometimes you have to go back to a video in which you went back to a game. So essentially what we're doing is going back to a thing where I went back. And this thing that we're going to go back to is a game series that I covered nearly 4 years ago on this channel, and it's one of my favourite franchises of all time. Crash Bandicoot. Or as my girlfriend's youngest daughter Amy used to call it, Cash Banuka. Here's the thing, guys, since I've now stopped doing Caddy's retrospectives and all the other pointless hundreds of shows that I've been doing over the years, and I'm not a fan of my early videos to any degree at all, I felt like going back to a couple of my videos or a couple of games I covered all those years ago and giving them a fresh take. I didn't really like the detail I went into or anything like that, so I wanted to go into a little bit more depth and revisit a few things. Not all of the games I covered in the past, but some of them. And as it turns out, with the PS4 remade from the ground up Crash trilogy being announced at E3 recently, Crash was one that I always wanted to revisit and stick under the Caddicarus banner once and for all, not on its own in a random retrospective playlist or part of a show that I don't do anymore, like under the Caddicarus playlist with all the other stuff that I've done on Caddicarus over the years. This doesn't mean that the old videos are going to be deleted, not at all. I'm just going to redo a couple of my thoughts on them, so you've got two now. Great! So without further ado, let's talk about Cash Banuka.
What's that? Who is that? Are you talking about me?
Crash, good old Crash. What should we call our competing platformer mascot for the PlayStation to Sonic and Mario? Naughty Dog cried out in the early 90s, and Naughty Dog replied to themselves, how about we make him a Bandicoot and name him after the thing he does? What? What thing that he does? We haven't even made a game yet. What does he do? Well, what he does. In the game. Yeah, but we haven't even started making the game yet, so what does he do? Does he wank? No, there's a game that's E for everyone.
Is it Wank Bandicoot?
No. He runs. Yeah. And he jumps. And he crashes into things.
Crash Bandicoot!
So Naughty Dog had the name, they had the idea, and what did they do with it? Make a story about an idiot with jeans, big shoes, and a belly button who was created by a guy called Dr. Neo Cortex for his animal army. Yeah, it's that guy. Hello. But then Crash escaped as bumbling idiots with jeans, big shoes, and a belly button would do, and so to get him to come back, Cortex does the next best thing and captures Crash's girlfriend Torna, even though she's clearly free to roam around the fucking trees for you to high-five at your leisure. And eventually, as you progress through this simple game consisted of 3 very different islands with different themes of levels present on them, you start to notice that the closer you get to the looming and sinister Cortex castle in the background of a few stages, the more natural and sprawling beautiful PS1 jungles become darker, more sinister, turning into hidden temples and roads to nowhere, literally, and everything succumbs to being completely industrial. And it's subtle little details like that mixed in with the bombastic and first-rate production values that caught everyone's eye who didn't have it on the PlayStation, straight to the PlayStation. That, and well, how could you not look at this fucking thing? What even is it? I'll tell you exactly what it is. It was a success before this game was even made. What I mean to say is that Crash meant business, so much that, like I said, it tried to appeal to PlayStation fans and attract new ones from all ages with the extreme juxtaposition of it all, and with that, meaning anyone could pick it up, play it, and love it. The game has a simple premise: save your loved one and stop the evil industrial man polluting nature and taking over the animal brains and therefore the world. Yet for the time, it looked organic, vibrant, really damn polished, and incredible, with a kick-ass atmosphere-driven soundtrack. It had one of the simplest control schemes ever implemented into a 3D platformer with even less commands than most SNES 2D games: move, jump, and attack. Yet the difficulty, both for late stages and optional completion bonuses was strenuous to say the least. This game wasn't as complex, huge, or daunting as Super Mario 64 before it, and in my opinion, not a better game. I honestly prefer Super Mario 64, but for a game trying to get people interested in Sony's little grey lunchbox, it was bite-sized yet detailed, easy yet hard, simple yet beautiful, and genuinely well designed to boot. You can run around linear yet dense 3D stages, grab 100 Wumpa Fruits for an extra life, save yourself from instant death with 2 extra hit points from Aku Aku. What have I got? And then go invincible on the third grab without getting hit, being able to run a bit faster, kill every enemy and smash every box by just touching them. Then there's the bosses and the occasional vehicle segments. Well, pig segments. What are you going to do to that pig, Crash? It's all good, clean fun. This isn't though, this will get you arrested.
Fun fact, did you know
Sonic's ass? Okay, the game is called the fucking Sonic's Ass game in production because you'd be playing the quintessential ideas of a 2D game from behind the perspective of the main character who everyone knows this. Everyone's talked about it, even I talked about it on my first video on Crash Bandicoot, and then I talked about it fucking again on Digital Gaming, so basically you need to get off my case and get me out of this fucking well. I'm stuck, that's why there's an echo in here all the time. Help me, I'm desperate and I'm hungry for dinner. How about fish and chips? Did you also know Crash's original name was Willy Wombat?
Now, as I've stated before, as far as Crash Bandicoot goes, I love the little dude. He's home to some of my top 50 games ever made. But here's the thing, when I was a kid, I actually didn't play this one first. I played Crash 3 first, and then Crash 2, and then Crash 1. So, to compare the feeling, it's kind of like eating a chocolate gatto, and then a digestive chocolate biscuit, and then a brick.
What I'm trying to say is that Crash 1 may have been a PlayStation revelation and a lovely breath of fresh air to prove to gamers that 3D games didn't have to be all complicated, flashy, and ooh, look at me with my dragon that was stung by a wasp and my fancy controller that makes you run anywhere you want to because I have a big central knob. But unfortunately, Crash 1, in my honest opinion, has dated by quite a while. Is it still playable? Definitely. Is it still fun? Absolutely. Is it something I'd recommend you drop absolutely everything you ever earned in your life to pick up a randomly slightly rare double-jeweled black case edition of the game? No.
Not on your nelly.
The thing with Crash is that you can tell by just looking at him that he's a bit of a humpy, bumpy, plumpy, dumpy fuckhead, and the flowing grace his control maybe used to have doesn't work out so well anymore. He's a heavy bugger. And he isn't even fat. When you're running, it's fine, and when you're naturally jumping from one thing to another, it's fine. But the second tiny platforms or odd third-person perspectives in tight spaces get involved, it can be terrifying with how dollopy Crash's jumping is. Every time you jump, you feel as though Crash is being lifted by puppeteer strings and either being dragged into the air too far or not dragged far enough. Literally, get some string, attach it to a thing, and then try to naturally jump from one small thing to another small thing in one movement. It's taken me over 10 years to try and describe how the jumping feels in this game, and I feel that's as accurate as I'll ever be, so take it or leave it. And it's that control style coupled with some of the most backwards and dated progression I've ever seen in a game like this that makes me never really recommend Crash 1 to everyone I ever speak to about it. I think I made it very clear a few years ago that when I was younger I spent a preposterous amount of time crying, screaming, kicking, and shoving things up my bum because of how nonsensical some elements of can be. Some stages like Slippery Climb, or as I like to call it, fuck you, are made unbelievably difficult just from how the heavy jumping is implemented. And with bouncing off of enemies onto fast moving platforms or even other enemies, let's just say Crash is a little too dopey to be positioned in the correct place at the last second. And then when you have to complete Slippery Climb while getting a gem for it, where do I start? Here's the thing, Cash Banuka has gems to get in the game, and when you get the gems, you can not only build a bridge to completely bypass the last boss, but also use colored gems to revisit old levels and find more hidden boxes and platforming challenges to get that particular gem of that level. All good stuff if you ask me, nice incentive for optional difficulty or replayability, and without them the game is very fun and comfortable for anybody to play with the odd injection of challenge. But in order to get the gems, you need to hit every single crate in a stage, including the deathly 3-second explosive TNT crates that Brio especially loves using so that his bonus stages can sometimes be a nightmare, but all without dying once. Even if you die in the middle of a stage and have to go back on yourself to smash the rest of the boxes that respawn behind you after every checkpoint, by the time you reach the end, you'll still be booted right back to the map and will completely bypass the box counting screen anyway. And with this knowledge, getting every gem in Crash 1 can be one of the most challenging things you'll ever do on the PS1. Amazingly satisfying if you get it perfect, and most of the time the challenge I find fair, like with the awesome hog riding segments. That shit feels good to perfect. And of course, tricky timing-based routes, they also feel good to perfect. But for stages like Slippery Climb... And And that means, in essence, the final boss against Cortex is easier than the painful and arduous task of getting every gem in the game to skip him, so it isn't worth any effort at all, and not even worth it for this goofy bloody face. Naughty Dog, what the hell was wrong with you back then? And what's even more satanic than that? Oh, I don't know. No ability to save the game at will? Nah, to do that, you either need to find all of the character tokens in a stage and beat the bonus challenge, or get a gem. How bloomin' backwards could you even get? Mary, Kate, and Crashly. Crash has a woman's face. And yeah, there are cheat codes, but if you're one of those people that thinks they can use the secret code to 100% the game to pretend that you're a 100% badass, I'm afraid you won't have the save file to prove it because you've done everything in the game that will allow you to save normally, so joke's on you and well played, Naughty Dog. In fact, let's go back again to see my excited, hairy head talk like a farmer about the time I beat this 100% as a kid.
And so I feel like I need to show you one of my greatest gaming accomplishments, because I have in fact beaten 100% Crash Bandicoot 1. It's on the screen right now. It doesn't have a date on it, unfortunately, but that doesn't matter because I've actually beaten the game 100%. It was years ago, and I was a little boy. Look at that. There's Crash. There's his face. There's Crash. There's 100%. There's all the keys. There's all the gems. There's all the... Look, see? Select game to load. That is my memory card. So that is not a cheat. That is genuine. That is absolutely genuine. Oh God, many tears were shed, and many relatives were slaughtered in order to get that. I must say, I was a ruthless son of a bitch, I was. I'm a glutton for game frustration. I love it. I love a bit of game frustration in my eye.
And this level of challenge could often make the easier stages feel like bloody demon souls purely because of you being too scared to die, fail, screw it up, start the stage again because there's no point finishing it, or maybe even finishing a stage perfectly but then missing just a couple of boxes. Oh great, is it game? Great, but I missed one box, so you cry yourself to sleep, you miserable bastard! And getting every gem also means unlocking the 2 hidden levels with the gems inside that are hidden behind Cortex token bonus rooms that you must beat to grab the key, and you only get 1 shot per try of a level and they're so hard. Damn it! All of this so I don't have to fight Cortex. Why? It's cool for an alternate ending, I guess, but it's just not worth it. But then you just have to remember the little things. I mean, I've played this game so much in my life that this life crate in between explosive TNT... nailed it. And I love getting every box bounced on so perfectly over a pit. That feels... good. As does the bounce sound effect in the game when you bounce on something too many times. You see, the pitch goes up with every bounce, and after a while it gets so small and tinny that you can't help but laugh at it. Oh, and I love the way that you can spin enemies off into other crates and enemies for Wumpa Fruit bonuses, and that ricochet noise is just heavenly. It's also good how the level designs are very fun, very memorable, very varied, and were broken up in difficulty by the bosses, which are meh. Even if it's pretty cool how most of them are specifically marsupial animal experiments of Cortex, much like Crash. Papu Papu is a joke and also sounds like a brand of nappies. Ripperoo isn't easy, but damn, he's... pretty boring. Koala Kong isn't actually too bad, but could be a bit harder if you ask me. Pinstripe is just as pathetic as Papu Papu, which is sad since he has a fucking Tommy gun, but his fight is just about waiting and then attacking, and it is indeed. Pretty boring. Brio actually managed to kill me. Wow, he actually did his job. Good work, Dr. Nitrous Bro. And Cortex is my favourite boss. Not too hard, but all reaction and memory based, and takes advantage of all of the Bandicoot's moves very well. They aren't great though. I actually like to look at them as more mini stages than bosses, which is good because the stages are really good. And everyone isn't just a stage, but rather another step in your quest. Depending on where you are on the island is where you'll be exploring on your way to Cortex, and it's clearly been built to be played as one big adventure. It's not just random stages for the sake of random stages. You are exploring these islands, even if it is broken up into stage by stage levels. And I love how different the platforming is tackled in the stages, like in the foggy bridges where every second could be your doom with how unpredictable the bridge could be, or the boulder chases that were implemented into Uncharted 4 in an ingenious little surprise, or the swamps and tribal gates with slippery surfaces and enemies you need to mix up jumping and spinning with to get the upper hand, or the factories and woods with branching paths, or in the castle where you have to be quick to keep your light going otherwise you'd be stuck in darkness, or temples with intermittent flames and rotation platforms and bats everywhere. It's all solid stuff, honestly. Whoa, camera camera. What are you doing here? You've gone all drag.
But the point is, I can still look past a lot of the flaws in Crash Bandicoot 1 and just enjoy it as a quick, once-around experience. It's still very fun to play today. It's awesome to see the humble, yet legendary beginnings of such a giant mascot platformer of the 90s. And of course, it's sold nearly 7 million units to this day. So that's got to attribute to some kind of quality, I suppose. And Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone has actually sold more copies than this game, so...
What?
Yeah. Well, that game.
How?
And for kickstarting one of my favourite franchises ever, and for coining the Aku Aku Invincibility song... Today, Cash Banuka gets the salvage. Lovely. And if it's your birthday today watching this video, happy frickin' birthday to you. Please remember to stay beautiful. Oh, and by the way, you know that beginning bit of the game where you have to get all of those rows of boxes without falling down the bottomless pit and everyone seems to think it's fucking impossible? You know the bit I'm talking about. Yeah, that bit. It's piss easy. Shut up. Here's how you do it.
What have I got?
Thank you so much. Oh, you're so kind. Stop it, please. Oh, thank you so much. I'm so kind. But I don't really deserve it at all because it's really fucking easy. Get a grip, people.
Yeah.
Hey everybody, the outtakes will be on in just a second, so please stay tuned. But first I'd like to share a special thanks to you for watching this video, a special thanks to the Pixel Empire for sponsoring today's episode, and I have a very special announcement along with that. Everything today is very special. Anyway, along with the Pixel Empire offering you guys 15% off of any single purchase of these amazing gaming, TV and movie wall prints using the discount code CADDY on checkout, but I also now have brand new and classic design shirts and hoodies from years ago, all on the Pixel Empire as well under the collections banner. And yes, the CADDY discount code also works there as a special treat for this new launch. Currently there's designs for Hideo freaking Kojima, the legendary Limitless Luscious Lawn Landing, Slaughter or Salvage 2.5D, and of course my awesome new logo by Jan Animation Studios. That's where all of my merchandise will officially be from now on, and it won't be on the Etsy anymore, so please spread the word, and please have a look in the description for both awesome posters and awesome shirts and other stuff from myself. So thanks again everybody, and enjoy 15% off anything that you want to get, shirts or posters. Ta-ra everyone.
And this thing we're going to go back to is a game series that I covered nearly 4 years ago on this channel, one of my favourite franchises of all time. I dropped the box.
Yeah, Pepper.
I know.
Pepper.
Yes, I know. And this thing that we're going to go back to is a game series that I covered nearly 4 years ago on this channel, one of my favourite franchises of all time. The Crash... Fuck.
Oh, this is some moody lighting.
So
Oh, I like that. Oh, I like moody lighting. Oh. Oh.
But the point is I can still look at Crash Bandicoot 1 and enjoy it as its own thing.
Yeah, so I guess Crash Bandicoot, the first one, isn't his favorite game. I mean, it's one of my favorite games. I mean, it was, what was it? Like like when, my mom would leave to, go visit her relatives, and, I was too young to be home alone by myself. My dad, would let me hang out with my, my sister and her kids, and, yeah, my son, my nephew, one of the games he would play was Crash Bandicoot, the original, and I would just like watch him, like, man, like, it was awesome. And sometimes I would try to play it, but my hand-eye coordination was so bad, like, oh my god, I freaking died within like 10 minutes of the game. I was like I would keep trying, like, oh, I can't do it, and then I'd just die and just give up. And like, he was a master at it, like, oh my god, like, it's crazy. It was just insane. I was like, whoa. But, you know, like Caddy said, I mean, looking at it, it does look pretty easy, you know, if you know what you're doing. But like me, like, it wasn't easy. like I've said, I'm not a gamer. Like, and like a game like that, like it's supposed to be easy. Like it looks easy, it really does. But for me, like man, I just couldn't do it. Like man, sad man. But anyway, yeah, that's my reaction to old Crash Bandicoot by Caddicarus. Everyone take care of yourselves and each other, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.